It's early February in Wheeling, West Virginia, and the minor league hockey team is promoting Shred Rich Rodriguez Night to ridicule the former Mountaineers football coach.
That's why they call me Rich, Coach Rich, because I want to be rich.
A Rich Rodriguez impersonator is signing autographs.
It's an honor and privilege to be named the University of Michigan's head football coach.
Prior to leaving for the head coaching position at Michigan 2 months ago, Rodriguez was beloved, a native son who was a walk-on to the West Virginia football program in the early 80s and began coaching the Mountaineers in the 2001 season. But now the university is suing Rodriguez to try to collect a $4 million buyout for breaking his contract, which was extended last August through 2013. Rodriguez has filed a countersuit.
This is America. I think you're allowed to change jobs. I changed jobs, and the level of hatred is probably unprecedented.
According to emails ESPN obtained through a public records request, Rodriguez had been unhappy with the school's administration for not giving him the authority he thought he needed to build an elite football program, and he started to indicate he might go elsewhere. In this August 27th email to West Virginia University President Mike Garrison and his chief of staff, Rodriguez's financial advisor wrote that the coach had no issues about the amount of his compensation or the length of his contract, but, quote, he has issues with the operations of the football program, his need for total control for the football program, and fairness. In a November 14th email sent to the president's chief of staff, Rodriguez's agent wrote, "We both agree there is millions in revenue not being realized. Those revenues over time will allow West Virginia University to remain competitive for Rich's services. Why is this important? There is a projected opening at Texas A&M this year and Florida State next year. Rich's name is being mentioned heavily." This past season, the Mountaineers were ranked second in the nation and one win away from playing for a national championship. In the last week of the season, they were a 28-point favorite at home against Pittsburgh.
If we win the Pitt game, Rich is the best coach in the country, Eddie Passalong's the best athletic director in the country, and Mike Garrison's the greatest young president in the country. Like they say, the best deodorant is winning. And when you lose a big game, little things come out.
The Pitt Panthers have pulled a stunning upset.
With West Virginia's chances of a BCS championship game dashed, Michigan came knocking and offered Rodriguez the head coaching job. If West Virginia beats Pittsburgh, and maybe you're playing for the national championship, how does this scenario change?
Well, I don't know if the University of Michigan would have called first and foremost, because you're playing in a game on January 7th. Certainly, it may have changed the dynamics for me, maybe not even picking up the phone.
Towards the end of his tenure at West Virginia, Rodriguez rarely communicated with athletic director Ed Pastelong. He even went so far as to have a graduate assistant deliver his resignation letter to Pastelong.
We weren't communicating very well at the end. I'm talking about the school, W administration, and myself. And, Director Pastelong, who was a friend of mine and who I supported many years, and I think he was upset for about 3 or 4 months with me, and we weren't talking a whole lot.
West Virginia University President Mike Garrison and Director of Athletics Ed Pastelong both declined repeated requests for an on-camera interview. In a telephone conversation, Pastelong said that he and Rodriguez got along quite well and didn't feel there was any tension. He also added that the two had not been in contact since Rodriguez resigned to take the job here at Michigan.
Thanks so much for being with us. 625 on the Northside Automotive Statewide Sports Line.
Rodriguez's departure raised the ire of rabid West Virginia fans.
He quit on our university. He quit on our state.
It really cuts deep, what he's done.
Rich ripped my heart out.
He was known as the golden boy around here. What's he known as now?
You gotta turn them cameras off, probably. He's, people think he's an egomaniac. People think he's a traitor. People think he's lost his mind over this situation here, and it's gotten out of control.
Just because you're from here doesn't mean you have to stay here. there are no walls around West Virginia. You don't have to commit yourself to being here for life. But if you do leave, have some class and some dignity about it.
Shortly after taking the Michigan job, Rodriguez was even accused of shredding documents related to the West Virginia football program, including players' personnel files and class attendance records.
I was cleaning out my office, and it was in broad daylight. Everybody was around, all the secretaries, and did not throw anything away that was pertinent information or valuable to anybody in the next head coaching position.
In a matter of days, Rodriguez went from a prince to a pariah.
I think had he gone out in a gracious manner, I think that the attention would have focused more toward the W officials for letting him go than to him for the way he went.
1 year earlier, Rodriguez had considered leaving West Virginia for Alabama, but he turned down an offer after West Virginia gave him a more lucrative deal.
Obviously I'm very excited to stay here and plan on being here. As I said many times, I plan on being here a long time.
I know what the school did and the commitments they made to him to keep him when he had the possibility of going to Alabama.
Tom Klee is a Charleston lawyer, a graduate of West Virginia University, and a supporter of the program.
I know a lot of folks stepped up, alums and contributors and supporters of the school and program stepped up and made significant contributions and commitments to keep him here. And there was a sense of relief when that was over that, okay, he's not going to go anywhere.
While Rodriguez has moved to Michigan, his wife and children remain in West Virginia. He says his children and some of his relatives have been harassed and threatened.
My kids are 11 and 9. I wish some people, and then again, the majority of people are being great. Majority of West Virginia people I've seen on a recruiting trail, I've seen a lot of West Virginia people. They've been super. But I wish some of the people that are ignorant and that don't know or don't care what they're saying, what they're doing, would see what it does to young people that had no impact in this thing, in this decision. My kids are 11 and 9. They shouldn't have to endure things like that. My nephews and my nieces, to put a death threat on them because their uncle changed jobs, give me a break.
As for the speculation about why he left his home state and alma mater, Rodriguez said the Michigan job was an opportunity too good to pass up.
If you ask anybody in my profession, name the top 5 or 6 college football programs or universities in the country, Michigan's going to come up in the conversation. It's the biggest and the best, and it's that in itself is for a college coach, for a guy to possibly have an opportunity, is going to get your attention.
But there's no question Rodriguez's reputation has been tarnished in his home state, perhaps forever.
I don't think this will ever be forgiven, and it will definitely never be forgotten.
You always want to leave the place better than when you got there, and you want to leave it so you can always go back. And I think the place, we have left it better than when we got there. But the hard part is, I don't know if we're welcome back.
George Smith reporting. Mark Schlabach of ESPN.com has also been on the ground in Morgantown reporting this story. It wasn't money necessarily, it was about control. But what were some of the specific smaller issues that had Rich Rodriguez ready to talk to the folks at Michigan?
Yeah, Bob, like George reported, this wasn't a battle over millions of dollars or job security for Rich Rodriguez. Rather, to outsiders, it may seem rather petty. It was whether or not Rodriguez could launch his own website, whether or not his players could keep their textbooks after each semester, who could stand on the sideline. Obviously, Rich Rodriguez wanted complete control of the West Virginia football program, and had passed along. The athletic director was unwilling to do that, and that's the root of this problem.
And we saw Rodriguez how emotionally got talking about the impact on his extended family. We have other folks saying it wasn't that bad. How venal has it been on the ground there?
No, I mean, it's been awful. His hometown of Granttown, West Virginia, removed the home of West Virginia coach Rich Rodriguez sign, I think, the day he left for West Virginia. There were alleged threats against his family. Sheriff's departments and other law enforcement officials in West Virginia just recently said they're unaware of those reports. There was an incident with one of his nephews at an elementary or middle school there in Morgantown, but it's been ugly.